Good morning, folks. This is Dan with By His Hands Honeybees. It's winter time here at the apiary, and so I figured today we'd make a little bit of summer sausage. Our family was lucky enough to take a couple deer, and I got some pork butts chopped up, ground up. So we're going to go through the process of making some summer sausage this morning and some pan sausage. So not sponsored, but Rio's and Trinity summer sausage mix, one package, 25 pounds of meat, and Rio's Old Fashioned number 8 seems to be our family's favorite of breakfast sausage. You can use any brand. That's just the ones we use. We like. We've been using for years and years. So I figured I'd go through the process with you. I'm already a little bit ahead of the game. I got out this morning and weighed up 70-30. 70% deer meat, 30% pork and pork fat. I got that all separated. I'm in the process of grinding it. So I'll grind a little bit and probably more. So that's our process of getting it all ground up. I'm not going to bore you with the details, drag you all the way through that. Once I get all this ground up, I'll come back and show you the next step. All right, folks, we're back here. I got all that meat ground up. The ratio was 70-30. So I got it all in my cooler right here. And so this season packet calls for 30 ounces to 50 pounds of meat, and I'm making a 25-pound batch. So I just got the little digital scales out there, and I got out 15 ounces of it weighed out. So we're going to add that to it, and then I made a little mixing handle in the shop today before we got started. So we're going to try that out. Get that in there. I'm gonna give her a good old mix. Unfortunately, I do not have a hand mixer as of yet, but it is on my agenda to get one at some point in time. The things are a little bit pricey, but I will have one of these days. So right now, I am the mixer. I'm going to continue to mix this, and I'll be back in just a minute. All right, real quick. So I ordered these casings. These are 1.5 inches. I got some 2-inch, but today I'm doing 1.5 inch casings for the summer sausage. So one thing you need to do is soak them. I've got a little pot over here with some water warmed up in. I'm going to stick these in there while I do the mixing, and let me show you that real quick. A little pot right there, and we'll just take these and submerge them in the water. What that does, it gets them pliable, gets them some moisture in them. They're easier to stuff that way. And we'll just let them soak for, I don't know, at least 15 minutes. Can't see me good in there. We'll let them soak for about 15 minutes in this warm water, and that'll get them good and pliable, easy to stuff. We'll continue on from there. So back over here, I'm in the process of mixing. I got some high temp cheese I'm gonna add to it here in just a second, and I'll bring you back for that. One thing I wanted to add when you're mixing your seasoning and your cheese and stuff into your meat, it is a little helpful to add some water to the meat. A couple things that helps the seasoning get in there a little better, but it makes it a little bit looser, so when you go to stuff it, it'll go through the stuffer a whole lot better. I do have a hand crank stuffer, but I push mine back through the grind it one more time to have it double ground, and I think it helps mix the seasonings and stuff up a little better. So add a little bit of water. I'd start with 3/4 of a cup and get it to where it's not so tacky, and then it's a little bit more easy to mess with. All right, I got my mixture mixed up. So now I'm gonna add some high temp cheese. I get this at our local taxidermy shop, Sportsman Memory here in Grapeland, Texas. They do the community a pretty good service. They keep some extra stuff on hand for us local guys that like to process their own stuff. Also, once I'm about halfway through, I'm gonna add some diced jalapenos. These are dried. I just like a little bit of jalapeno flavor in some of my summer sausage. A lot of folks don't, and I'm one of them guys that think heat is not a flavor, but I do like the flavor of jalapenos, so a little bit of that goes a long ways. Just remember that when you're putting dried jalapenos into your meat. So I'm gonna add the cheese real quick, and that's just preference. You like it really cheesy or a little cheesy, that's entirely up to you. But this high temp cheese, you really need to you can't use regular cheese because it'll melt. This high temp cheese, as long as you don't get it above about 170, it usually holds up pretty good. I try to get my meat to an internal between 150 and 160, and then ice bath it after that. So I'm gonna use about a half a bag of a 5-pound bag, so about 2.5 pounds to 25 pounds of meat. I'll get that mixed up. I'll be right back. All right, folks, I'm back. So I've had my casings soaking in the water. I've got my meat and cheese all mixed up. Now I end up adding about a quart of water to my meat to get it to where I like the consistency that I like to push it through the stuffer. That just makes it a whole lot easier. You ain't got to push as hard, and that will evaporate out during the smoke process and the cooking process. So it's not that big a deal, and that's going to depend on you how thick you want it, how I guess loose you want your meat before you stuff it. So I'm gonna pull out one of the casings real quick, and I'll feed that on and show you that process, and then we'll stuff a couple real quick. So I'll pull it out and drain all the water out of it, and then feed it onto here. And this is a 1.5 inch casing, and this is a 1 3/4 inch stuffing tube. So when you start pushing this, you want to hold it tight and let it kind of feed out to you. So we're going to get going with that. It is nice to have some help sometimes, one feeding, one pushing the summer sausage, but I'm solo today. it kind of tight on the end and just let it feed off. And it'll get you a nice, tight, no air bubble sausage in there. I like to stop a little bit from the end, give it a little twist, pull it out. And then I will tie these up here in just a minute. Once you get your, once you get it filled up, I'll stack these in a pan. And then I let them sit overnight in the refrigerator so all the cure and the seasonings can get acclimated to the meat. And then tomorrow I will put them in the smokehouse and smoke them for a few hours. I can do it a couple ways. I can get my smokehouse up to temp to about 220 degrees slowly and cook them to internal temperature, or you can just smoke them for a few hours cold smoke and then finish them in the oven. And that's really a personal preference. I've done it both ways and it works great both ways. These do come with a string on the end so you can hang them in the smokehouse, and works well.